Welcome to Bias Bash. I'm Lauren Green. Ted Cruz has a likability issue. Well, that is according to the mainstream media. Headlines like "The Likability Problem of Ted Cruz" from the Washington Post, or "Ted Cruz Battles and Boosted by Likability Challenge" from USA Today. It paints being well-liked as a key election issue for the Texas senator. But how important is it really? Here to weigh in is Justin Duckham, senior Washington correspondent for Talk Media News. Welcome, Justin.
Hey, great to be here.
So how important is this likability issue for Ted Cruz, and why is the media kind of focusing on that?
That's a very good question. You know, they really seem to have dug into this issue as portraying him as unlikable, when really there are a lot of candidates on stage right now who simply haven't really been well received by their colleagues either. You know, if we're going to point out, Ted Cruz being disliked by his colleagues in the Senate or those who he served on with the Bush campaign, then we can very easily point out that Donald Trump really hasn't gotten a lot of respect from his peers. We haven't seen a huge boost from the business community coming to his aid. We haven't seen Carly Fiorina's members of HP coming to her. And Hillary Clinton has also really suffered a very big likability gap. But for some reason, none of these candidates have had as much attention on their personalities as Ted Cruz has had.
You know, interesting, because I think there are 2 points here. One, that it's Trump who kind of introduced this kind of issue, because he said, who liked Ted? Ted. Nobody likes Ted, after he actually said he liked Ted. So doesn't it point to how even Trump now sets the agenda for even the media?
I think that's certainly true. I think, Donald Trump can put something out there, and then the media will kind of jump on that as catbait. And I think in this instance, in particular with Ted Cruz, there are just a lot of good stories that really, generate a lot of clicks online. The instance of his roommate back at Harvard really tearing into him on Twitter on a daily basis has been something that the media just couldn't really resist. And so I kind of understand it to a large extent, but really you have to ask how important likability is. You know, there's nobody really on the campaign stage right now who a lot of Americans would like to get a beer with. There's nobody who's sort of a backslapper like George W. Bush, or somebody who just seems like a really interesting person to sit down with like Obama back in 2008. Mm-hmm. And this time around, you really are kind of dealing with a lot of people who just don't necessarily seem to be the most engaging personalities.
What is the subtext of going after Ted Cruz on this likability issue?
I think this is sort of the fact that you really need to dig into him now that he has become one of the top 2 GOP contenders, and now everything's sort of on the table. And I think it's sort of becoming, more of an issue because you have a lot of people who are very willing to kind of come out of the shadows, come out of a woodwork, and many times give off-the-record statements just essentially decrying him as sort of a terrible person in their point of view. And we've seen that from people beyond just John McCain, just a lot of his colleagues in the Senate. So I think, there are a lot of people who are willing to talk smack about him, to use some slang, and I think there are a lot of people in the media who are very eager to listen to that.
Wow, very interesting stuff. All right, thank you so much, Justin.
Thank you.
And if you want to hear more media analysis on this week's top headlines, catch Media Buzz with Howard Kurtz, Sundays at 11 a.m. Eastern, and again at 5 p.m. Eastern on the Fox News Channel. I'm Lauren Green, and thanks for watching.